There's something comforting about routine. The same breakfast, the same route to work, the same tone in conversation. Predictability makes life feel safe. But, and this is important, predictability also makes you vulnerable. It invites assumptions. It invites control. Today we're looking at Law 17 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Now, that sounds sinister, because it is. But before you recoil, let's unpack it. In psychology, we tend to associate predictability with emotional security. Children need predictable caregivers to feel safe. Romantic partners want to know where they stand. This is healthy, necessary even. But we're not talking about relationships based on love. We're talking about power, influence, control. And in that domain, predictability is a liability. When people know what you're going to do next, they can plan around you, box you in, beat you to the punch. In game theory, predictability is a losing strategy. If you always cooperate, you're easy to exploit. If you always retaliate, you're easy to manipulate. The winners? They mix it up. They keep the opponent guessing. Let's take an example. Richard Nixon. In foreign policy, Nixon cultivated what was called the madman theory. He wanted foreign leaders, especially in the Soviet Union and North Vietnam, to believe he was unpredictable, even unhinged, that he might do something irrational, like, say, launch a nuclear strike. The result? They hesitated, they negotiated, because they didn't know what he might do next. Now, whether or not this was effective is debated. But the psychology is textbook. Uncertainty paralyzes. You don't have to be president to use this. In fact, you probably already do. Ever suddenly go quiet during an argument, not because you're surrendering, but because silence at the right time is louder than shouting. Or maybe you deliberately miss a deadline, not out of laziness, but to signal that your time is your own. When used sparingly, unpredictability creates asymmetry in power dynamics. You're not just reacting to the world is reacting to you. There's a neurological basis for this too. Our brains are prediction machines. They crave patterns. They hate unpredictability. When someone close to you suddenly changes their behavior, you feel off balance, anxious, hyper-focused on them. In fact, intermittent reinforcement, reward that comes unpredictably, is the most powerful form of conditioning. This is why slot machines are addictive, and why some people keep chasing emotionally unavailable partners. That's Law 17 in action, even if unconsciously. But here's where we need to pause. Because unpredictability is a double-edged sword. Use it too much, and people will distrust you. They'll avoid you. You'll become isolated, or worse, irrelevant. Greene's law says suspended terror, not constant chaos. What we're aiming for is just enough unpredictability to keep others alert. Responsive, not enough to trigger a flight response. Think of it like seasoning. Too little, your food is bland. Too much, it's inedible. There's an ethical dimension here too. Do you want to be powerful, or do you want to be trusted? Because the more unpredictable you become, the harder it is for people to rely on you. And while unpredictability might win battles, trust builds empires. So the real power, the higher level power, may lie in choosing when to be predictable and when not to be. Law 17 reminds us that human beings are not just rational agents. We're emotional, pattern-seeking, risk-averse. When you break the pattern, even subtly, you force people to pay attention. And attention, as any performer will tell you, is the first ingredient of influence. But remember, there's a difference between being unpredictable and being unstable. Be deliberate, be thoughtful, and above all, be aware of the effect you have on others.